I've been doing some talking and thinking on the general subject of the atheist community, just people in general, and organization. I guess that's really the only way to change anything is to be organized, and so it's sort of a requirement. I've done a video before on organization as one of my solution videos, so I guess we'll just make this a separate category of video just on the idea of trying to find a way to organize. And I've been talking with 8RF, and you know, it's basically his idea that we set up a community channel, and yeah, it's no problem. I think it's a good idea. We just have to find a way to create a community within this community. I mean, obviously, it's the diversity within this community that's part of the problem. You can't really organize when you're not focused, and when yeah, the effort isn't directed, you know, controlled. I mean, as much as people hate that, but that's part of this whole thing, is that, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, Luke in anarchy, and then you have Zach, who's semi-anarchy, but, you know, in a different way, in more of a back to nature way. And I think they're both, we're all hungry for the same thing, which is a change. They've sort of concluded that government's the enemy, and that's not my conclusion. I sort of see it as the people are the enemy. I mean, governments are made up of people, and especially in the modern day, you know, we have the power to change government, and the fact that we don't is because we're not organized, because the governments themselves, the democracies, aren't very well constructed, and I've done videos trying to explain how that is, because it is all based on geography. The same election takes place in different places, and the system is rigged. As much as it is a democracy, it is not a representative democracy. It doesn't achieve true representation in legislative bodies, and that's a big flaw, huge flaw, because it doesn't allow the argument to take place where it needs to take place, which is on the floor of a legislative body. Instead, the compromise takes place before people vote. It takes place in the decision about who's going to be the Democratic candidate and who's going to be the Republican candidate. There, the compromise is already made, and people shouldn't have their voice diluted before they even really cast a vote. So I mean, that's a problem that needs to be fixed. And so I guess that's sort of the agenda here, would be first to just find people of like mind, in the sense that we'll have to have some kind of general parameters. Yeah, I'm not going to, you know, we all have our specific ideologies. We all have things different definitions of fairness, different definitions of a better world. And I sort of think freedom is a consequence of good government, not something that you have without government. Because I think without government, there's no freedom. It's like you could live in the period where there were dinosaurs or something, and you could call yourself free, but you weren't really free, because, you know, you step outside of your, you know, your hollow log or whatever, wherever you're hiding, and you know, you're going to get eaten. And that's, you know, that's the kind of world that anarchy creates, or a world where you have to really have rules. Rules are the definition of a good game. You can't have a good game if, you know, we just go out there and say, here's the competition, you know, the survivor wins, and we don't have any rules, you know, well then there's all kinds of cheats and disadvantages that can be taken advantage of. I mean, all of a sudden, how heavy the guy is makes a difference, or who's standing looking into the sun and who's not looking into the sun, and all this bullshit becomes part of the equation of who wins. And even the definition of winner doesn't mean anything. It's not better, it's just stronger or bigger or smarter or some other thing that really shouldn't matter. I mean, winner's not going to be better human being, more considerate, more thoughtful, more loving, more, more capable of enjoying life without expecting too much, more efficient even as a human being. Wouldn't that be a great quality, to be an efficient human being, to need very little and to be happy with very little? I mean, to eat rice cakes as if they were chocolate bars, just get wonderful pleasure from a rice cake, that kind of human machine that was capable of enjoying life and appreciating it with nothing. Wouldn't that be a good competition? But in any arena where there's no rules, that kind of person isn't going to win. So anyway, it's not really, like I said, I don't want to get to winning, but it's the idea that we have to define in general terms what we like and don't like about the world. I mean, I would say obviously stupid wars are something we really should be able to avoid. There's just no excuse for them. And we should have but at the same time, we should have the capacity or the empathy to help people struggling to exist in a country blighted by war. I mean, we should do what we can to be peacemakers where we can do it, where we can do something constructive. But we always want to these big governments, these countries, always want to take the shortest route. Peace requires maybe a sacrifice. It's not as simple as just pressing a button and saying we're just going to kill some people and that'll solve the problem, because that's not the solution. And sometimes the solution is sacrifice. Sometimes you have to lose people without exercising any revenge or putting it on a tally sheet and obliging to find vindication for those deaths by imposing more death. And so much of the whole war strategy, it seems to be based on that kind of bizarre logic. You kill us, we must kill you. We must retaliate in kind. And that's nature, that's human nature, but a government should be able to do better than human nature. It should be structured to do better. And I think that's sort of what a constitution does. A constitution sets up higher principles, higher ideals. And if we have some reverence for that, we'll be okay. But the reverence can't be dogmatic and insane, because there are people who, that's the anarchists and the rest of them, who think the Constitution should be limited to this tiny, ineffective principle that doesn't have any meaning in the real world, and that we should just retain archaic language for hundreds of years without adapting it or improving it. But these are, like I said, it's all the complexity of human relations. It's the complexity of getting to the root and realizing that we've got to focus our attention on the bites that we can take together and not get caught up ending up biting each other. I mean, we want to fix something. We don't want to break each other, and that's sort of what ends up happening because of the conflict about priorities. And so anyway, it's something I'll work on. I'll make my contribution to it. We'll set up maybe a couple of channels at first and try different approaches to try to get the best that we have to offer each other, and upload some videos on specific subjects, defend our ideals and what we believe in, and try to consolidate it into something focused. And maybe if we only focus on 10 issues, a platform, not to sound like a political party, but have a platform and focus on accomplishing those goals and promoting those goals, maybe we can get something done. And it can't hurt to try. That's, it's easily said, but it's true. It doesn't hurt to make the effort, and a little investment could have a big payoff, so what the hell. And so we'll see where it goes from there. I guess if I was going to make a short list, well, good thing is I'm out of time. Obviously, I'm big on fairness. I'm big on an incentive economy, you know, where people have to, everybody earns their keep in one way or another. You know, we give every person a chance to be a part of the society. Everybody's invested in it, so no one's going to feel like I have to shoot everybody up because I'm not invested, I'm not part of the system doesn't like me. You know, none of that crap. We really have to have a system where everybody makes a contribution.